When was the last time you had a deep conversation about dating, finding a job, reaching our goals, and all the other intricate areas that make up our 20s? Every episode, I talk about these topics with real young adults who are living and learning along with the rest of us. If you want to hear how your peers are dealing with and conquering these areas of life, tune in. This is Building the Blueprint. Ladies and gentlemen, my guest today is one of the most important leaders on campus. She currently serves as the president of all sorority life here at the University of Oregon, a community of over 1,500 women. She is an advertising major and a women's gender and sexuality studies minor. Previously, she was the president of her own sorority, Alpha Phi, and a seasonal associate at the In-N-Out Burger in Simi.
My LinkedIn.
Is it Simi?
Simi.
Simi
Yes.
Valley, California.
Yeah.
Today, we're going to chat about motivating others in and out of the workplace, how to be a leader even when you don't know how you can get more shit done so you have more time to live your life and have fun, and how to stay steady when strong emotions start to overwhelm you. I'm excited and grateful to welcome Mia Ragland. Mia, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Nick. Love that. Little addition.
How you feeling?
Good. How are you?
I'm feeling great.
Good.
We're both starting our Fridays.
Oh yeah.
So you nervous? We talked about this a little before. A little nervous, a little excited.
Yeah. I think just excited. I love yapping. I can talk all the time, but
Yeah.
I feel like definitely just focusing on like the right things to say too.
Yeah.
But that goes into being a leader as well.
That does go
Always-
together.
Always being in the limelight, no matter who's listening or not. I feel like
When you want to or don't want to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, Mia. We always start the show with rapid fire questions. Okay. So gut reactions only. Okay.
Okay.
All right. If you could only eat one meal for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Ramen.
Favorite book or podcast as of right now?
Definitely Mel Robbins, but I've also been listening to Emma Chamberlain, Anything Goes. That's like one of my favorites because it just feels like a conversation. Like we're just there together.
What's an unusual talent you have?
Oh, wait, this one's hard. I don't know. Unusual talent.
Anything. What's one thing you're good at?
Doing anything, like raising my hand in a quiet room and just being like, I'll do it. Like, so I feel like that's something I'm good at.
That is
Just
an
be like,
unusual talent.
Yeah.
Favorite place you've ever been to?
New York City.
What's one thing? Oh, I did that. Kendrick or Drake?
Kendrick.
If you could live anywhere in the world, where would it be?
With my family, wherever that may be. I feel like.
Celebrity crush.
Oh, role model.
Favorite film genre?
Probably rom-com, something like that.
And what's your favorite app on your phone? TikTok, yeah.
I definitely say TikTok or Pinterest for sure. I mean, I'm an ad major. I love that.
You are an ad major.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
What do you want to do with that?
Okay. That's also one of my struggles I have as like a quote leader. It's like I've always loved to lead, but I don't know where that could guide me. My dad worked a lot in experiential marketing, so I've kind of grown up in that, which I really loved. But I don't know, advertising gets tricky because I feel like I'm a very like, I like to be like ethical, and advertising and marketing isn't almost the most ethical thing because you're kind of tricking someone into
If I had
buying.
$1 for every time I hit this microphone with my water bottle,
It's like that
I'd
sound.
have $4.
Well, that's kind of not enough to bet at the casino.
No, not enough to bet at the casino. Well, unless you're good.
Yeah.
Unless you're good.
Unless you're good.
Okay, so for how big is the sorority life here? I said 1,500 women because I knew it was over that, but I wasn't sure the exact number.
I would say, to be honest, I know I think it's like 13 or 15% of the student body, which isn't a lot. But when you put yourself into the seat that like I am and a lot of the other leaders are in FSL, it seems like a bigger deal. And when we're dealing with to me, it's like significant when like one woman is affected by something that happened to her in the community, or even a man like with hazing and stuff like that. So I feel like it seems bigger, it seems bigger to us, but in reality, it's not as large as we think it is.
I mean, it's still pretty big, right?
It is pretty big.
3,500 students.
Yeah, I also think for being like a smaller percentage wise of the student population, we do have a lot of chapters that are housed, which makes it feel bigger because it's like, okay, Oregon has we have 10 sororities housed. I'm not sure about the fraternities, but
16,
obviously there's a lot. So I feel like that makes it feel a little bit bigger as well.
Yeah.
Just because it makes up a lot of the Eugene community. So
running for president of anything is a big
Right.
ordeal. Running for president of a Greek chapter
Mhm.
is kind of like a nuanced thing that I feel like people hear about. Oh my gosh, you're the president of this chapter?
Right.
Like, what? You're president of AFI?
Mhm.
What? Like, why did you want to run for that?
Yeah. Um, I don't know. I've always been like I said, I've always like one thing that I've always knew that I liked and that I loved doing was leadership or whatever you can like categorize as leadership, right? Because I feel like it's kind of hard to put like, oh, my hobby is leading. Like, what?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's not over. Yeah,
Like extrovert, whatever. Um, but I know like ever since and I don't know why, but ever since like the fourth grade, I've loved just like being in positions and I ran for my first executive position as a little 4th grader, I ran for treasurer, and ever since then for like a we had Kiwanis Club, it was like a community service club at our elementary school. So ever since then, I was like I just loved being a part of something greater than myself and just, like, leading in that way, just, like, being an organizer of whatever it might be. So when I came to college, I think as a senior in high school, I knew I wanted to join Greek life because I was a part of my cheerleading team in high school, and I've always been surrounded by women who and this kinda sound I don't know how it will sound, but, like, women who have always had kind of a target on their back. Like, as cheerleaders, like, I wore my, um my uniform on the first day of school, and I had gone to another school that I wasn't supposed to, like, this wasn't my, like, target high school, and they would just, like, make fun of us, and, like so we had a lot of, like, backlash, and, like, it was very weird. So we've always kind of been fighting, like, stereotypes of, like, women and, like, "What are you doing?" Cheerleader have a stereotype, sorority women have a stereotype, whatever. So I was a part of that group, so I knew I kinda wanted to go into sorority life because 'cause I've always been surrounded by strong women in that field and kind of always been fighting stereotypes, I guess, like, in a way, which is very interesting to think about,
isn't
but
it weird how like it kind of seems like back in the day, like 30, 40 years ago, like
right,
being a cheerleader and being in a sorority was like that's the cool person, like, and you
right,
get all this
yeah,
social credit for that.
I definitely agree,
And
yeah,
now it almost feels more like, "Oh my gosh, you're still doing that?"
right, yeah, I think I faced that a lot in high school too, and I was also doing, like, ASB and leadership in high school as well, so I was definitely still involved in, like, other things that, quote, "meant something" to the other people that were also running for it. It's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, how are you, like, captain of the cheer team and you wanna do ASB or, like, something like this? Like, why don't you just stick to that?" Stuff like that. So when I was a freshman in Alpha Phi, I admired the leaders of the chapter. So I loved, that we got to see the president when she walked out and opened the doors and the VP of member recruitment. Like, I was like, "Those are the coolest girls ever." Like, I wanna be them. So I they were talking a lot about exec, and I was like, "What's exec?" Like, I had no idea what it actually was, and I ended up running for and I could have ran for more positions, but I only ran for 1 because I didn't know how it really worked. I
'Cause you
ran
knew you were gonna win.
No, no, that's the thing, I didn't even know I was going up against all these other people, like, I don't know, when you just, like,
You're
do
like,
I was like, "Okay, let's just go out on a whim and do it."
yeah,
So I ran for, Panhellenic delegate, and ended up getting it, and so that was my in. I was like, "Okay,
that
this is gonna
hooked
be
you.
it." Yeah. So I got really close with that exec board, and they were awesome. And I got to meet Griffin, which is now our Panhellenic advisor, which is awesome
Griffin's
too.
great. I
Yeah,
love
she
Griffin.
was, Panhellenic president when I was Panhellenic delegate, and I met, like, a member in Tri Delta that I met her through recruitment, and I, like, loved her, and then she ended up being on Panhellenic, so I got to
Sammy?
create those. No, I can't think.
Doesn't
Red
matter.
hair.
I thought it was Sammy.
No, I no, not Sammy. I think oh, yeah, she was in Tri Delta too. No, Abby. She
Abby.
had red hair,
Okay.
but I loved her. Sorry. I'm like,
Whole
"Sorry,
tangent.
I'm
Everyone's like, "Who are these people?"
Yeah, so anyway, I met this one Tri Delta, and she was on Panhellenic, so, like, creating those connections, I was like, "Whoa," like, these are the people during recruitment I was looking up to, and now I was, like, kind of a part of that
Yeah.
world, so and then from Panhellenic delegate, I went to president.
So for like, I'm curious because I had a very when I came, I was a very similar path of like I knew I was gonna join
Right.
because my family has a long history of being in Greek life.
Yeah.
My dad and my grandpa were both betas,
Oh, okay.
and my dad was social chair. My mom was an AKIO. My aunt was like, my grandma was an AFI.
Wow.
So I was like, I'm definitely doing this.
Right.
And I also had that energy of like I kind of want to be in charge here. Like
Yeah.
I kind of want to like make some shit happen. And what happened for me was I was thinking about presidents ultimately like that's the highest position of
Right.
like if you're going to make something happen, that's the spot to be.
Yeah.
But I eventually got scared off of it because
Totally valid.
my POV was like, you're there's no winning in that job. Like
No.
everyone's kind of gonna hate you.
Yeah.
You have to do all the grunt work that
Mhm.
nobody sees. And I ended up just not doing it. Like I ended up being social chair because in my mind I was like,
I'm doing something that people will
I'm doing
like.
social
Yeah.
chair. It's like it's less work. People like me because I'm doing something they like.
Right.
And same with IFC. I was like, I can make a big difference on IFC. For people listening, IFC is like the executive team in charge of the executive teams.
Right.
And like I can make an impact, and I don't have general members that are yelling at me all the time because no one's like directly watching what I do.
Exactly. Yeah.
Um, did you think about that at all? Like, did you know that was going to happen going into it, and you were like, I'm going to deal with it anyway, or did you kind of get in the position and realize like, oh shit, I'm getting a lot of criticism?
Right. No, yeah, I knew because I was looking up to our president a lot, and I think the thing that you said too is like it's a losing job and kind of like I feel like people aren't gonna like love what you do and you kind of do all the behind the scenes stuff, but it's also hard because like yes, you are like the top and you have everyone under you, but then like you might not get the praise for the good things that you're doing. Like my recruitment, my VP of recruitment, my she had an amazing recruitment. It's like thank you to her or like our
Right.
social is this and like where's that and I was like but I'm over here doing like making sure they're all together not only just one. So I think that was like the hardest part too was like just being like I'm here whatever.
When
But
things go wrong, it's your
it
fault. When
felt
things go right, it's
it's
someone else's
yeah, right.
credit.
But I don't think I knew obviously I didn't entail everything, like I didn't know what it like everything entailed, but I think I'm really good at being like I'll take like excuse me, like, the bullshit,
Yeah.
and I'll take it, and I'm like, "If you don't like it, like, we'll talk." Like, I'm kinda the more like, "Let's sit down, let's talk." Like, if you do something that, like, doesn't reflect well in our chapter, like, we can talk about it because I'm not gonna sit here and let you do that or, like, let us I don't know. So I was, like, okay with being more of the punching bag because I was like, if our chapter I would rather myself feel like that than, like, everyone else in our chapter.
Mm.
I
It
feel like
really
if
is
that
a
makes sense.
community service role, kind of.
Yeah, for sure. It also is it's a business too. Like,
Mm.
I'm the one who talks with our nationals, and I'm the one who gets told, like, "Oh, we were hashtagged in this thing, like, don't post for 24 hours." Like, I'm the one who gets all the, like, plans where it's like, okay, some like, another someone was talking about another Alpha Phi chapter from a different state, and, like, if anyone contacts you, like, this is how you do it, like, crisis management, I guess. So, I was the one that did all that, so it was like, "Don't make me look bad," like, that's it's gonna come from higher ups and then to me. So,
You're in charge of everything.
yeah,
Everything.
everything, yeah.
Everything that goes wrong,
I mean, I kind of
everything behind the scenes.
but it is what you make of it too. If you
Okay.
don't wanna be in charge of everything, you can delegate your roles. But for me, I was like, "I want it done this way, I'm gonna get it done this way." Like, that's what's gonna happen. I'm not gonna let, like, other factors kind of add to that because then it will be my fault in the end, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm curious for like PHC president,
Yeah.
because my understanding is it's much less hands-on, it's much more delegation, it's much more leading,
Right.
right? It's less of you doing everything, it's more of you making sure other people are doing their
Yeah,
parts.
totally agree.
Is that right?
Yeah. I would say as chapter president, I was always on, I was always there. I was at everything. Like that was my I was like, I'm gonna be here. I'm here for you guys. I'm this person that's always gonna be energetic, always going above and beyond, like making sure everything's going right. Like during recruitment, if the RCs, like the recruitment counselors, the women who help um, potential new members go through the process. Like if they knocked on the door and asked for chairs, like that's me, but also like everyone was getting into door lines, like that's also me. So I'm kind of doing everything.
Mhm.
Whereas Panhellenic president is more of keeping the morale high within like my executive team, but also like delegating like, okay, what do we want to do? Because you don't really have a set task. At least for me, as like Panhellenic president, it's kind of just like you're president, like go ahead, do
Yeah.
whatever you want. But as like my other directors, it's like Ava is like our vice president of member recruitment, right? So she's just focused on recruitment. She has all these tasks with the recruitment. I'm just like, let me know if you need anything. Like,
Right.
I feel like it's less stressful too because I don't have a chapter image to uphold,
Yeah.
I guess,
You
and
don't
a
have
whole
like
chapter
general
facility.
members
Yeah,
constantly like at you for not doing anything.
yeah, and it's also like with my general members, I obviously, well, I deeply care for all of exec too, but it's not as personal. I feel like I was living with the members of that I was leading with.
Yeah.
So like if they had financial needs or like personal mental health needs. Like I was there and I had to kind of go through all those things and be like, okay, let's look at what's going on. How can I help you? Stuff like that. Or like,
Yeah.
how are you? What can Alfie give to you and aid you in a way?
And if you yelled at them, you had to eat breakfast next to them the next day.
Right. Lunch and dinner.
Close
Yeah.
quarters. Yeah, it's so interesting. Like I've talked about this with KJ and with Emma.
Yeah.
We talked about like leading your peers because it's
Right.
just like a way different thing of like, I mean, you definitely lead your peers out in the real world, but typically out in the real world, it's like your boss is 10, 15 years older than
Yeah,
you,
exactly.
opposed to like you're leading your best friend and being like,
Yeah.
hey man, like you need to do this. Like,
Yeah.
I know we joke all the time, but like you also have work. Like we were talking earlier before the podcast, how your exec team is pretty social,
Right.
especially with the fraternity exec team,
Yeah.
right? How are you managing the balance of like,
Yeah.
hey, we're having fun here, like we're friends, but also like do your job?
Yeah, I feel like that's definitely been something that I've been focusing a lot on this term as this kind of president because before in as chapter president, I knew all the women, right? Like I had grown close with them and I was about to say I grew up with them, but I did. Like I was a new member with a lot of these women and like I knew them. So it was like, you guys know me, I'm a familiar face. But going from leading I had to meet everyone and be like, okay, team, like this is our game plan. Like we're starting now. And they're like, who is this? Like they don't have that trust yet. They have to gain my trust.
Yeah.
Um, but I think, yeah, once we started becoming more social, it was like, "Oh, me a friend," and then it's like, "Wait, me a president." Like, so you have to it's kinda like a switch on and off, and whether that can be positive or negative. I think it's been working well, but yeah, sometimes it's hard to put the foot down, and it's weird because it's like, I'm not trying to hurt your feelings, like, I'm not trying to be a mean friend, but I'm honest, and I'm gonna tell you how things should operate and how I think things should go, and I don't know, giving my advice as in a more presidential way. I feel like but it can be hard, yeah.
Do you think you kind of have to pick a side? Meaning, like, it seems to me you're very comfortable being the bad guy,
Yeah,
right? You have no problem being like, hey, you didn't do this, this needs to get done,
right.
right? Or just taking charge when no one else wants to.
Yeah,
And there's also other leaders that are more just trying to be buddy buddy. Like, do you think there
right.
is like that perfect balance, or do you think like to be like, let me rephrase. Do you think it's more important to be the bad guy or more important to be the friend?
I think it's, like, kind of a measure of, like, tough love. So, I think I would say it falls right into the middle because I don't wanna be, like, this mean, strict, like, president, like, I love to have fun. I love to make people feel happy about what they're doing. I want you to feel like I'm doing something in this role, and I want that to like, I want you to feel happy based on what you do. I don't want it to feel like a chore, like, I want you to be passionate about what you're doing,
Mhm.
and I wanna, like, help you through that, but also, like, making sure what we do is, like, up to this like, our standard and, like, how much I can push you to, like, get out exactly. I don't know how to phrase it, but just, like,
It's
pushing
coming from a
you.
good place.
Yeah, always, yeah.
What would you say to someone then that who's thinking about it, who's like the freshman or the
Mhm.
sophomore, who's like, okay, I kind of want to be a leader. I like my organization I'm in. Could be a Pokemon club. It could be
Right.
a Greek chapter. It could be anything. Um, what would you say to them when they're thinking about like what should they think about before they make that decision?
Yeah, I would say don't rush to the limelight. Like, it's there, and so you can get there, but you don't need to get there right now.
Hmm.
I think you need to grow, you need to learn, you need to know yourself before you go into these positions, and, I mean, take a step back, but help in every way that you can. Like, every little thing it makes such an impact. Like, I feel like the freshmen that I look at now are, like, the ones that will volunteer for things that not everyone else wants to volunteer for. Yeah, like, raising your hand in that quiet room and kind of like shadow exec a little bit, like, be that, "I can help you with this." Don't, like, try to steal that spot right away, just, like, try to work up to it because it does take time, and you have to learn. I mean, freshman year of college is hard. Like,
Yeah, you have
you're
plenty of
not
other things to
you're
deal
not
with.
really going through, like, everything you're not in the correct headspace to be like, "Oh, yeah, I wanna shoot at this and, like, do it right away." So, yeah, just taking a step back, growing and, like, learning about yourself and how you are like, how you could be a leader and your motivations and I don't know, because I mean, you could want something and be super confident about it as a freshman, senior out of high school, and then be like, "Oh, wait, I'm here to do college too. Like, I have to do school."
Yeah, and to have fun and all
Yeah,
that.
socials, yeah, everything.
That's also the easiest. Easy. It's it. English. That's also the easiest it's gonna be to kind of do the grunt work behind the scenes
Right.
because you have the most motivation.
Right.
And like learning how to do that stuff and how everything works is really important. But when you're the older you get, the more you're around it, the more you're like, I don't really want to do that.
I mean, that's why we see member retention go down in the junior and senior years
Yeah.
for chapters.
Because you're just around it. You're like, I don't,
Yeah, you're like, I don't need this anymore. Yeah.
yeah.
That's why I always have the challenge. Well, because now I work with the 11 Panhellenic chapters and I see how theirs operate. Because I was just so Alpha Phi focused and now I kind of focus on all the chapters. And it's like I was a sophomore when I became president. And a lot of chapter presidents are like, oh, just going into their junior year or just and are going to be a senior. So I've had a lot. I feel like I've had a different experience as chapter presidents than like if I was starting chapter president now, it'd be so
Game
different.
over.
Yeah,
Game
so
over.
different. And that's another struggle. I mean, I've had as president, which is ongoing, was living in the house. So currently still live in the house as a junior. So I've been living in the house for 2 years now.
Mm-hmm.
Because we have to live in as president, and it's like a full term. It's
Yeah.
a full year lease.
Yeah.
So I would say that was my biggest struggle as president,
Having
was
to
living
stay
in
in the
that
house.
house. Yeah.
Yeah. What advice would you give for someone who's about like they just got their first role,
Mhm.
right? Like they're going to be a leader of something. I don't know what it is. Like what
Yeah.
advice would you give to that person who's about to take their first leadership role and like how they should handle it, what they should
Yeah.
start with?
Like I said, I feel like you just need to gain trust of the people you're working with. Like you can't just jump in and be like, you do this, you do that, you do this, you do that. So I feel like it's more like getting to know people. Why are they here? What are they doing? What are they passionate about? What makes them happy? So like getting to know them and just like I love when I see people talk about what they love to do and they have that like spark and I'm like, okay, that's where your leadership comes from.
Mm.
So it's like I can kind of pull from like, okay, that's what makes you happy, but you're here doing other things too. Like you care about this larger community. So like getting deeper on the people you're working with.
Yeah.
Like you kind of have to know where they come from because not everyone's the same to to lead. I feel like you have to get to know the group you're around to lead them in certain ways.
Yeah.
So
You
I
can't
think
leave. Yeah. It doesn't.
no, not
Everyone's
everyone.
different.
Yeah,
And that's how you motivate them.
right.
Yeah. That's okay. I want to talk about motivation because
Yeah,
that's one of the trickiest and hardest parts about being a leader
yeah,
is motivating people to do it. Right. Like I'm a couple days ago at a class with a CEO of a big bank,
mm,
and this guest speaker came in, and I
yeah,
asked him like, how do you motivate like the tellers
yeah.
who make $15 an hour? Like, how do you get them to like actually care about the success of the business?
Right,
Right? Because why would they care? Like, they don't make that much money. They're new to the company.
right.
You're the CEO. It matters way more to you.
Yeah.
And like, he didn't really have a great answer for it.
No.
He was like, well, we just his answer was we try to hire bankers, not tellers. Like, we try and hire people who want to have a career with us
Right.
and like are like looking like that. Like, how are you motivating?
Yeah.
I guess how do you motivate your general members, which are just people in the organization, and then how do you motivate like the leaders that you're in charge of?
Right. I think that's a great question, and it definitely I don't know how to say it. It definitely like relies on like who like it definitely is like the person. Like I feel like just like personally like because some people have more passion for things than other people do. It's like I feel like to me the first thing that I thought of is like the people who make sure like Disneyland looks spotless. It's like they know exactly I mean in my eyes I'm like they know exactly what they're doing. Like I think their job is so important. Like whether they're like cleaning the trash cans or like sweeping up or like they engage with customers and they engage with the people there to make it an experience. Like everyone there knows their job and it almost is like as important as I don't know, like I don't
Well,
know.
the CEO.
Right, yeah, like it's I don't know, everyone knows. It's like during recruitment, I feel like for a chapter too, like I'm not sitting down with my members, but every single person who talks to a potential new member is like almost as important as me when I'm going up to people. So I feel like it's definitely a hard one to like motivate everyone because obviously motivation comes and goes. But I like to reflect on like why you're here in the first place. Like why did you want to join and like what makes you passionate about this position? I don't know. That's a
Yeah,
difficult question.
I think for me, what I've been trying to do is what you're hinting at is ask as many questions as possible
Yeah.
and kind of get them to answer their own
Yeah.
my question as in depth as they can of like,
Yeah.
okay, why are you here? Why does this matter? What motivates you? What do you want out of this? Like, do you want social status? Do you want to
Yeah.
grow? Do you want to just like make friends?
And it makes them dive deeper too and like have a realization in and of themselves. So I feel like it's more of like a as personal as it can get. I feel like we'll as vulnerable as you get with people, the more they'll share with you, the more they'll trust you. And I think that's really important too. And what I did a lot what I do a lot as a leader is like I'm in your same shoes. Like this is what I've gone through. Like we're all in this together,
Yeah.
kind of thing. Because obviously, when you see a leader, you're like they got their shit together. Like they know what's going on, but we don't. And sometimes it can definitely get hard motivating people, and that's mostly your role too.
It's great practice too for anyone who wants to be a leader in the real world. If you can
Yeah,
motivate a 19-year-old, you can
right,
motivate someone who's not getting paid and who's paying to be a part of this organization.
right.
You can motivate your employee who's getting paid 80 grand a year.
Right. I think that's something I always think about too, like, in college, I'm like, all of us, like, all of our peers are one day, like, their goal will be, like, working for something, like, they're gonna have to know how to work in a job, like, you can't just hang
Yeah.
out, be social all the time. So I feel like it's, like, that prep, like, this is something you can deal with in, like, the real world,
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Absolutely.
When you first started IFC, and did you see yourself growing? Like, did you run for another position on IFC?
I did.
Okay, so that's kinda what I wanted to talk about because when I was in high school, every year I ran for, like, whatever class president of that year was, and I guess high school might not seem as relevant, but to me as a leader, that's, like, kind of my path is, like,
Your starting
I've
point.
always kind of gone like I said, I started in 4th grade, whatever it may be, but, like, that's just, like, my timeline, I guess I wanna kind of say. So, freshman year, I was elected of, like, freshman class representative or something. I was, like, appointed.
Hmm.
Awesome, great.
Hmm.
And so sophomore year, I ran, and I was running against my best friend that I
Oh.
had just met. Like, not just met, but we had met freshman year. Like I said, I came from a different middle school that didn't, like, filter right into my high school.
Hmm.
And so I was running against one of my really good friends, and she won. And then the next year, I ran against her again. She won. And then the next year, I ran for senior class president. She had run for, like, ASB, president, which is, like, overall, right? So we didn't run against each other, and so I won. I got senior class president that year, but sophomore and junior year was so difficult because it was, like, that loss, like,
Yeah.
just that feeling of, like, wanting something so bad and, like, being qualified and knowing, like, deep down what you're gonna do and, like, that you just want it so bad and you're like, "I can do it," but then not having that opportunity because something or someone might come in the way of that, and then deciding, like, "Okay, I still wanna lead. How can I lead without like, with a different position or not having a position?" Like, I was like, "Well, what am I gonna do if I'm not
What do I do now?
what do I do?" I
Yeah.
wanted to do that. That was my path,
You
like
planned on that.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it's like, this is yeah, that's what I wanted to do. So, it's hard, like not, like, not getting your way almost, but it's like, what do you do when something comes in between that
Yeah. You
feeling of,
you
like
had this expected vision of your future,
yeah,
and now you can't have it
and it was,
anymore.
like, working it wasn't selfishly, obviously, I wanted the role, and
Right.
I was so excited, whatever, but it was, like, I wanted to do it to, like, have this great sophomore and junior year experience, like, I was thinking about my peers and my classmates, so it's like we're putting each other or, like, we're putting ourselves in a position to, like, help others, and then you just, like, don't get it, or, like, something happens unexpected, and you're like, "Oh, okay." Or, like, you can't campaign or, like, stuff like that too. It's like, I feel like with FSL, when we run, it's just, like, the interviews or, like, what you know about people,
Yeah.
I guess.
Yes, so I ran for president,
Okay.
and I only ran for president,
Yeah.
and I lost.
Yeah.
I lost to Ethan
Okay.
Kim. Shout out.
Shout out
Ethan's
Ethan,
doing
yeah.
great. Shout out Ethan. But yeah, like I'm friendly with Ethan. I've known
Yeah.
Ethan for a while. Not a while, but I've known
Right,
Ethan.
and that's what I was saying, like, that was my best friend. I had to be like, "Congratulations, I'm so excited for this year," like and I was still gonna be on the council, like, I wasn't going anywhere, so I was
Yeah.
gonna be right there with her. So it was like
Yeah. I expected to win too,
right,
which hurts when you're like, yeah, like
I got it,
I
yeah,
got this one. Killed the interview. Like I've already been on IFC for a year, right?
right,
And so one aspect of it, it was interesting because one aspect of it was I want this role. I think I'd be great at it. I
right,
think I'm gonna get it. You don't get it.
yeah,
And then an added element to it was Leo, our director at the time, was like, "Hey, I want you to be recruitment.
mm,
Like, hey, you're not getting president. I want you to be recruitment."
wow,
And I said no.
yeah,
I said like, I think it would be a great recruitment. I agree with you, but I don't think I'm going to grow as a recruitment chair. Like part of my
Yeah.
reasoning for wanting to be a leader was I think I don't know if I'd be a great president. I was like, I'm pretty confident I'd be a good president. I know I could do recruitment. Like that's my bread and butter.
Right.
President, I'm like, that's the challenge, and I'd grow as a person, and I could
Right.
make a bigger impact.
And that's so strong too, like knowing that like someone else could take on that position and like grow and learn from that. And yeah, I feel like it's stronger in a way to say no. Like that's great. Like, because it's always
It's
like,
hard. It's
yeah,
hard
it's
saying
hard,
no.
especially as a leader when you want a position and then you maybe lose the one that you wanted and you're excited about and you're like, okay, fine, I'll just take whatever position I can get. Like sometimes you think about that.
Yes. Just like,
So,
just let me hang around. Or
yeah.
there could have been the resentment part too, where it's like, yeah, give me
Right.
that position so I can show Ethan that I'm better.
Right.
But I could have been on IFC right now and been like a total asshole.
Yeah.
Right. And it was also a weird part of my life because that term, like winter term, like all my responsibilities reset because
Right.
so I didn't get president.
Yeah.
So I was not on IFC anymore. I was no longer social. That was when my social chair as Beta Theta Pi ended.
Yeah.
I left OC. I had already decided
Yeah.
that I was going to take a term off. I was going to leave my consulting group because I was like planning to be president.
Right.
I was like, hey, I need time to do this.
Yeah.
And then I was like, holy
What
shit.
do I do now?
I've got 25 hours of my week back.
Yeah.
For better or worse.
Right.
And I think it's different for everybody.
Yeah.
I'm a very ambitious person and I already had plenty of side endeavors that were had happened before. And so for me, I took it as a step of like, okay, this happened for a reason. I said no for a reason. Like, what can I do where I'm going to grow and I'm going to live life and have fun? And then that for me turned into my business. Like it turned into presentations I was doing, which you know about.
Mhm.
It turned into this podcast. It turned into social media.
That's awesome.
And so I just redirected my energy.
Right. And that's what you have to do. But that's strong as a leader. Like that's
hard.
it's hard. Yeah. That's definitely a hard part about being a leader for sure.
Yeah, part of it that is funny. Like part of being a leader is knowing when people don't want you to lead it anymore.
Right.
When it's like, hey, you're done.
Yeah.
Like that totally
sucks.
part of it.
It definitely sucks. Like I was thinking, I think people ask me like, would you have done being chapter president again? And I was like, yeah, sure. But I was thinking of the overall health of the chapter in a few years when I'm gone. And it's like, if I were to be chapter president again, I wouldn't be doing any of you guys a favor. Like somebody else needs to learn how to take this chapter on. And it's not me. It could be like, yeah, I did it. It was hard, but I have so much love for sorority life and my chapter now from everything that I've been through as president, which has created a stronger bond between me and like sorority life and my chapter specifically. But yeah, it was like someone needs to learn how to do it. You guys can't piggyback off it as much as like I would love it, but
it seems like being a leader is like being a parent.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, you have to like kind of be the bad guy, but you're also trying to be the friend.
Yeah. Trying to have fun.
You're like you have to help. Your job is to help other people and to like lift them up. Yeah. You have to know when to help and when to kind of you get pushed away. Right? It's like
it's like babysitting too.
It's like babysitting.
Yeah.
At least babysitting, I get to be the cool guy sometimes. At least babysitting, they're like, Nick's here.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I mean, babysitting, I kind of think of like formals and things where I'm like, all right, come hang out with President Mia. We can drink some water. You know what I mean? So it's like,
come sit down for a moment.
Yeah, let's have a chat.
Yeah, I mean, so why though? I'm still curious. Like, why do you think you're drawn to leadership?
I don't know.
Like,
what? Always like I don't know.
It seems like you have the bug.
Yeah,
like
I do. I have the bug. I've been sick with it for a while. I don't know. Like sometimes I think I like to like be in charge. Like I'm maybe it's a control thing. Like maybe I have a weird like I'm over controlling of something. I don't know. I just love to be. Maybe it's FOMO.
Maybe it's like you just want to be involved in everything.
It definitely could be FOMO because now I love to be involved in like the behind the scenes stuff. Like I feel like it's more of like the nitty gritty. Like I like to do that instead of like I feel like it's not like social FOMO. I feel like I've been getting better at that. But
are you the person who like, if you're going on like a trip with your friends, are you the person that plans everything?
Yes and no. I feel like it depends. Well, I just had this struggle because it's been my friends' like birthdays, and obviously we plan. Like I love throwing birthdays. I love throwing parties. Like I just love when people aren't like have enjoyment out of something, right? So I was like, if I didn't even buy this, it wouldn't even happen for this person. And like I'm like, why am I was swiping my card for the whole group, and I'm the one who's like, I Venmo request or you send me money, like,
Yeah.
but it's like I'm always stuck in between where it's like, do I not do it because I might not get my money back or whatever it is, or like, do I do it and they have like I make their birthday.
Yeah.
So it's like, but I'm always at this part where I'm like, I want to make their day, even though if I'm like in the negative over here, I'm like, let me just get you whatever you, or like
Yeah.
do whatever, or like stretching myself too thin for other people is definitely something I struggle with for sure. Because I always just want to be caring and, like, there for someone, so I feel like a lot of times when people come to me with their problems, I'm like, "Okay, now this is my problem, and I'm gonna figure it out, and I wanna fix it." I think I get that from my mom a lot too, because 'cause I'll call her, and she'll be like I'm, like, just struggling with something, and she automatically is not like, "Oh, like, it's okay, love you, I'm there for you." She's like, "This is the solution, this is how we're gonna fix it, and, like, you have to take one thing off or, of the table," and stuff like that, and I'm like, "I just need a hug, like, I didn't need a solution," but, like, we're exactly the same person on
Mm.
that wavelength.
You think you do that to other people when they come to you? Is that
Oh,
what you're
yeah,
saying?
I'm like I mean,
Like, let's fix it. Like, here's how.
let's
Let's
fix
fix
it,
this now.
yeah, but I think I've gotten better at more of just, like, being I'm always there for I'm always there for a person. I'm like, "Okay, it's okay," consoling and stuff like that, but I always like to figure it out.
Yeah.
I feel like we got off topic.
No,
What did
I'm
you even
glad that we
ask
got
me?
on topic. I think let's keep going off topic. I don't
Okay.
care. I think it's more genuine when we go off topic,
Yeah.
right? Like these are just here, and these are the safety net,
Right.
right? The idea is it can be whatever. Do you
Yeah.
think like in terms of going off what you're like solution or a hug, right?
Yeah.
Do you think the default should always be like, hey, this person just wants to talk and I'm just here to listen? Like, should that be the default? Like, or should I be like, hey, like, what do you need from me right now? Should I ask? Like,
Mhm.
and it's also different because like
Yeah.
sometimes this is from this could be my brother, this could be my friend, this could be, someone I'm dating. Like those
Right.
are very different
Yeah.
scenarios, but
It obviously depends on the person. Some people are stubborn to
mm,
take advice, or some people are stubborn to be like, "Alright," like I don't know what's, like, a great metaphor to put it in, but it's like, "Alright, you're crying, get a tissue," or, like, "Wipe it." You know what I mean? It's like
just throw Kobe Bryant quotes at him.
yeah. Like, what exactly do they need in that? It's hard because you have to just, like, sit down with someone and be there with them. I think that's the most important part. It's like, "Okay, I'm here. Let's just sit, calm down for a second, and, like, figure out what
Mm.
you need out of this." In a relationship, it's different, though, because there's 2 people, and it's like, the way you're making me feel
It's way more
is
complicated.
di right?
Way
It's, like,
more
back and forth.
complicated.
Yeah.
Yeah, at least from a friend setting or from anything outside of a romantic setting.
Yeah.
Um, I do coaching
Yeah.
for some guys. Like that's one of the calls I heard earlier. And something that I've learned from my dad who does a lot of coaching as like, okay, how do you coach people better?
Yeah.
Is you just keep asking questions.
Yeah.
Like you kind of have to ask. I kind of seem like a therapist, which is funny.
You wanna keep them talking.
It's not even that. It's yeah, well, it
Yeah.
actually is that. It's I'm trying to I'm trying to lead them to the answer. It's like
Without giving it to them.
right. It's
Yeah.
like they don't take it as well. If I tell them, if
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, I have the X problem. I'm like, well,
Right.
here's the solution. I go, okay, well, why are you having X problem?
Yeah.
What do you think you could do about X problem? How would you feel if you solved X problem? Right. And you kind of have to let them go through it and solve it, even though you're like, fuck, let me just give you the answer.
Right, and sometimes it's hard because you see all their resources right in front of them, and they're not using them, and it's
Yeah.
like, it's right there in front of you, like, you got it, and then for me, I'm like, "Just do it, it's
Just
right
do
there,
it. Yeah.
right there,
Especially
just
as
do
like
it."
a go-getter and like someone who does so
Yeah,
much. And you're like, well, like, yeah, like, what do you mean? Why is this a problem? Just drink some water.
right,
Or
and
why is this a problem? Go
sometimes
to the gym.
yeah, sometimes it's like, it's life, like,
Yeah. Deal with it.
gotta go through it, like, I'm sorry, I don't know what to say, but then it's like, some people might not take that as well as other people,
Oh, definitely not.
so, I mean, for myself, I'm like, like, "Snap out of it, let's go."
Yeah.
Um,
I feel like what I have to do sometimes too, as someone who's like super fast paced and just not naturally wanting to sit down and be that therapist,
right,
ask questions person, is I have to be like, if someone comes to me like that, I'd be like, let's talk about this like tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
Or just be like, hey, like let's go get coffee
That's so smart.
later. Like I have to like push it off to a setting where like I can kind of prep myself
Yeah.
to be that person
so
for them
smart.
because that's not my default.
Right. I think that's a lot of what president was too, is I definitely react right on the spot.
Right.
I'm a big Taylor Swift fan, so when someone just does a little like chirp and it's like, I'm always like,
You're like
I get so defensive,
about to
and
throw
I'm
a
like,
hand.
just wait, it's okay. I think a lot of that, like sorority group chats, it's like, what, like what day's barn dance, and I'm like, well, why didn't you come to chapter? And I'm like getting on them or like stuff like this, or I want to snap back with something sassy or something, and I'm like, no, Mia,
Come, bro.
yeah, and then it's like an hour, and I'm like, why did I say that? Like I should have never have said that. Like,
Yeah.
you can't do that. Reacting in the moment is something I learned deeply as president. I was like, take a breath.
Yeah. Something I try and do, which I'm still not good at, but I'm trying to do, is
Right.
like when someone says something to me, like I like wait 5 seconds before I process it or before I respond.
Yeah.
Or like not every time, but like if it's something that like sparks something in me, if I'm like, wait a minute,
Right.
I'm like, is this something I want to internalize? No.
Yeah.
All right, I'm good.
That's definitely been something I've been dealing with a lot with our new social policy for FSL.
Yeah.
We have chapter presidents in our president's meeting almost every week ask the same question, or just a different variation of the question, or just like a rude response or a stubborn response. And I'm like I'm always like darting my hand up and I'm like, let me answer that for you.
I'll take that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had that with FSL week last year where anyone listening, like Greek week, where I'd be like, I told them like 5 months ago, here's when it is. And then I look in the calendar and they're like, Theta Chi's like, we're going to Canada. And I'm like, what are you doing? You can't go to Canada. And they're like, well, we already spent the money. And you're like,
I told you.
like, what do you, it's so frustrating.
Yeah, I mean, another thing as a leader that's frustrating too is like not everyone's on your same wavelength, and you can have the greatest aspirations and ideas for these chapters, but if they're not reciprocating it, it's not going to go anywhere. Like for Greek week example, like it's to bring the FSL community together, but to them it might be like a chore or like
Yeah.
just asking freshmen for points. So that's hard when you're trying so hard to lead people that are unleadable, that just don't want to be led in that direction or have their own mindset of what leading looks like to them. I feel like
that's where my thought process is like it only gonna get easier because it's like the younger you are, the less control over you have of who you're working with.
Right.
Right. Like I don't get to pick my 3 key players that are like the best of the best.
Yeah.
Right. And like even when I get into the job force, I'm not gonna get to pick my team.
Right.
But
that love you, that know you, that are your friends outside of work,
that are the best.
want to
Right.
work hard for the same goal.
Right.
Yeah.
But when I get to start something new, and I mean, I have had this in my entrepreneurial endeavors, is I get to pick who I bring on. And like, that's my favorite part of like,
awesome.
I get to pick, okay, who are my A players?
Right.
It's also the hardest part because like I've had to fire people.
Yeah.
Like I've had to like fire like 3 people.
Hey, that's crazy.
Which firing your friends
is hard.
Oh my gosh. I've been lucky enough that we were kind of on the same page of like, let's split.
It's not working out.
It was one of those where like, let's split way. Like, we both agree.
Right.
But like, if they would have been like, no, I want to stay on, like,
right.
That's really hard.
Well, it's hard because sometimes like, even if I say like, I'm not taking this personal, like we're still friends. I understand you're a great friend, but we don't work compatibly together or something like that.
Yeah.
But then they could take it personally and they're like, wait, that just ruined our friendship.
Yeah.
I had to do that a few times during being president, but it was like, no, we can be friends outside of this, but I am running something greater. That's like my separate thing that I just need to pick the right people for this.
Yeah, that's been a tricky part too, because so when I'm doing like, for example, like I have like an editor for the podcast, and I have like my cousin does my social media stuff.
Yeah.
Right. And then you're like, okay, well, my editor is my friend, and my cousin does my social media.
Yeah.
Which is great because I already know them, I trust them, and I pay them way less than I would have to pay a professional.
Right.
But like
That's
when
hard.
shit hits the fan and I have to like provide harsh feedback, then it's like, okay, well, this is awkward.
Yeah.
Right. And I've been lucky enough, shout out Xander, best editor in the world. I've had 0 problems.
Are you Xander? Or
No,
like,
no, it doesn't go here.
okay. I was like, Xander.
Not Perez.
Shout out Xander.
Xander's been great. I haven't like it's been perfect. But I've had things with other people I've worked in the past where it's like, hey, like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
Like we can't keep going down. It's
so hard.
It's so
like
hard
with roommates.
Yeah, it's like saying like, hey, like
like
you need to clean your shit, but also like I don't want to come off as a dick.
Right.
It's like, what do you do there?
Yeah, that's so hard. For
Yeah.
sure.
I mean, part of it, I wonder how much of it is, I wonder how much of it you can control. Like,
Yeah.
how much of it is, what percentage do you think is how it's just how they're going to react
No.
and you
Yeah.
can't control? And how much do you think is how you deliver it?
Right. It's all. I feel like it's very inherent too. Like this is definitely just like how they've grown up and kind of coped with things in the past too. I don't know.
Yeah. I feel like 50-50 on it, maybe
Yeah.
40-60 of like, all right, you're going to take it how you take it. I would say 40% is like, I can't control.
Right.
You're who you are at this moment in time. I can't control how you react to this. And I guess 60% is like, okay, I know who you are. I know what motivates you. I know what you're insecure about. I think that can help you. If you're
Yeah.
like, okay, if this person's insecure about, you know, not seeming smart enough,
Yeah.
then you're like, okay, well, like when you're giving feedback, you're like, hey, like you're one of the smartest people I work with.
Right.
But something I've noticed with smart people I've worked with in the past is they miss the little things because they're
Mhm.
thinking about the big picture.
Yeah.
And this, like, I could give feedback, like, how you
Right.
phrase it can help sometimes.
Yeah.
But it still sucks.
Yeah, definitely sucks. And I think too it goes in to like noticing. I feel like in college it's hard because 5.
Fuck. I said 5 though. I just got this water bottle. This is the second podcast I've had it. So I've
I
hit it.
like that color a lot.
Oh, thank
I
you.
also really like that sticker. See, this is when I go into ad mode and like
Beta
creative.
Phi.
I love it. It's a air freshener.
Yeah. I got a bunch. There's like a bald eagle one.
You have any extra of those ones?
No. Those
I
ones.
like those ones a lot.
I have another. I might have another Beta Theta Pi one though, if you want. Well,
We
I'll
might.
do some digging around.
Yeah. I have to get some
We'll
more
see how the
AV
next
merch
few
over
weeks
here.
go. See how the next few weeks go, and then we can get you
Uh-oh.
one.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Good.
What was I gonna say? I feel like it also just goes into like grasping like the real world quote because I feel like as leaders you kind of like zoom out a little bit and you're like this is going to help you in the long run. Like I'm giving you this advice because it's like I can see it a little bit more than I think you can, or like someone that you're working with that's like your friend,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like they can kind of see it more on like a smaller scale of importance.
They don't have the full awareness of the scale.
What exactly is going on, you know? Because like if you're running a business and starting all these things that are like adding to your personal like reputation because you're starting your life, you're starting your main goals. That's not affecting them as much as it could be affecting you, you know?
Yeah, that's well said. Especially in college where your life is this, right? We're in a bubble.
Oh, yeah.
And people's lives are, okay, oh, what do you mean? Like, does this mean you're not going to like hang out with me now? Because we're not working together?
Right.
It's like, no, that just means like
It's
we're not
just-
working together.
Yeah.
Or like, what do you mean? Like, is this going to like, fuck you, bro. I just,
Yeah, like, do you believe in, like, the work and friend, like, separate do you know what I mean? Like, separating your lives,
Yeah.
like, work, friend, school. Do you believe in that?
I think you should.
Yeah.
I don't. I'm running
I
that line
agree.
right now because it's cheaper.
Yeah.
And because I think you can get away with it a little more when you're younger. I don't know. I honestly,
definitely.
I do think it should be separate, and I'm running the rest for now.
Yeah.
Because same thing we said. I mean, just like the personal relationships, like also a really big important aspect of running a business is hiring. And everything that I've read and seen about hiring is like you should assume you're going to hire wrong.
Yeah.
Because you need to be quick to promote
Mm.
and quick to fire.
Yeah.
Right. And so like if you notice someone's not fitting in, like you actually have to be the bad guy and be like, hey, like
now.
you're out, like before they're in too long. But if
Right.
it's your friend, my innate desire is going to be, oh, I'm gonna give him a chance. Right. Or like, let's see how this works out. Or like, we can work through this.
Yeah.
I'm not going to pull the strings because I'm emotionally attached to this person.
Yeah.
Which, you know, it's just difficult because
Hard.
business is so cutthroat and life and friends and family is meant to be the opposite.
Right.
So definitely.
That's difficult.
Yeah. Definitely difficult. I'm curious for you when you're motivating people, do you find like negative or positive works better? Like, do you think it works better when you call people out when they're doing stuff they shouldn't be, or works better when you call them out when they're doing things you want them to do?
Yeah. I think a little bit of both, but obviously it depends on the person.
Okay.
I feel like I've been dealing with a lot recently more emotional people.
Mhm.
So it's like I need to give them those like words of affirmation, like things that they're doing good at. Because as soon as people like hear that they're doing something bad, it's like all this hard work that I've been putting in meant nothing. Like
Yeah.
I've just been doing it wrong. Like I'm not good enough. Like I shouldn't keep going. All of the extra stuff I'm putting in outside of my job description like didn't mean anything and all that. So it kind of I'm like, that's not what I meant at all. Like
Yeah.
I just wanted this tiny little fix. Everything else you're doing is amazing. So I think it depends, but like for me, if I'm doing something like that isn't working or isn't good or a poor reflection of whatever like workforce I'm working in or whatever organization I'm in, like I
Mhm.
would want someone to tell me. I feel like it depends like
Yeah, you're right. It depends on the
it depends on
person.
the person, but yeah, like for me, I can confidently say that like if I'm doing something wrong, I would love for someone to tell me like and obviously I'll like I don't I think that I won't take it personally and then someone tells me something and I'm like, shoot,
You always
I
take it a
knew
little
that.
personally.
Like I knew I should have been doing that, but I didn't. Why didn't
Mhm.
I do it? And then I get like I don't know, and then I'm like, "Wait, what?" Like, it just makes you doubt yourself a little bit, but then you're like, "I knew it." Like, just keep going.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I feel like great traits too in people that you're working with are like how quickly they can bounce back.
Yeah.
Because I think even the most secure leaders are gonna take it a little personal,
Yeah.
right? Like I always take feedback a little personal because
Right.
like that's kind of
It's
just
you. Yeah.
natural. But it's how quickly you can be like, all right, nope, we're
Skip.
good.
Yeah.
Not they didn't mean that as an attack.
Yeah.
Let's use it as fuel. Let's actually do this thing to get better and then keep moving.
Yeah. And everyone makes mistakes too. And
Yeah.
I think
Especially when we're
also
fucking 20
yeah,
and 21
it's
and
also hard too in college because all these positions are very temporary. I was chapter president
yeah.
for a year. Like 5 months in, you're not gonna be perfect. Like, even a year or like I said, if I were to do chapter president for another year, I'd still make mistakes. You have to do something consistently to know what you fail at and then to get better at that. You know, like, you can't just
Yeah, that is funny that
like, it's just so temporary. Every time I thought I knew what I was doing as president and I'm like, "Oh, I did that good." Recruitment. You can't go back. We only have 1 like, it was like, "Okay, formal in the fall. I did that great." And then I was like, winter form, but it's different.
yeah.
Like, oh, our philo in the fall, we had feast, and then it's like with food, and we're doing all this, and then it's like in the spring, it's FIFA and soccer tournament. Like, it's not the same thing. You can't just like
Yeah.
you go through one thing and then you learn, okay, I didn't do this very well. The next time I do it, I'll do it better. You don't have a second chance.
You get good at it and then they're like, "Great, you're
You're
done."
done.
That is so silly, but
Yeah.
that's just how it works and until
That's
you're in the real world, I
yeah.
guess.
That's what I've kind of been thinking about a lot. It's like, got good at being Panhellenic delegate. Okay, you're president. Totally different. Okay, you're chapter president. You finish that. Okay, Panhellenic president. Totally different. So it's like, yes, I have been in roles of leadership, and yes, like me and Emma, our last Panhellenic president, were chapter presidents before, so we have like an awareness of sorority life, sure, but it's completely different.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to be chapter president to be Panhellenic president. You don't have to be Panhellenic president to be a chapter president. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
totally different things. Obviously, you learn and grow from all of those, but it's not like there's step 1, step 2, step 3, 4 is you become president, and that's exact like, you checked off all the boxes to know exactly what you're doing. It's like,
You should have
you
been in
don't
my
have to.
IFC interview. You would have helped me. Just kidding. Shout out
Mm,
Ethan.
shut even. Well,
No, I'm just joking
yeah.
because I'm joking
No.
because my the feedback I got was like, oh, it's actually my feedback I got was it's better to be a chapter president and then be IFC
Yeah, see, that's
president.
what I'm saying. You can't
But it's
like
I get the logic, but everything's different, and especially in college, it's like every role is you're kind of learning on the spot.
right. And I mean, everyone has different thoughts. So I don't know who interviewed you, but they might have been like, "Oh, he's highly qualified," but it's like, no, that's not. I'm dealing with totally different things. Like, I think the thing about chapter president was I was so involved in my chapter. Like, I knew what was going on. I understood recruitment. I understood risk. I understood socials. I understood everything involving what you need to keep a chapter alive and healthy. And I ran that, and I grew like our member count. Like things like that. I did it, but U.S. Social could have,
Yeah, and I think
like
I
it's
will say what you all get better at is like being the face because
right.
that's really and that's I think that's one of the biggest parts about being I've seen PhD president is you have to be the face, and as a
Yeah,
chapter president, you get more
you get
experience doing that. When
yeah.
I'm more kind of behind the
And
scenes.
that's what going back to, like, how could I give freshmen, insight on that is, like, show face, like, be there. People know you and recognize you, they'll trust you to lead you because you're there, and you see things and you know things, like, and you kind of get to see the more behind the scenes stuff too. It's like, and it can be little things, setting up for a sisterhood. It's like, oh, I remembered we were down 3 tablecloths. Like, you know that. Like, you've been there. Like, it's little things like that. And that's what I love. Like, I love paying attention to those things because I don't know if I would say I'm a perfectionist, but I love when things are like, can be the best they can be. So it's like just little things like that. So if you're around it and you see it, you can grow and learn from those smaller things because sometimes that's what makes you a good leader.
Being a leader is stressful shit.
Yeah.
Also, doing a lot is stressful, right?
Right.
Like you're consistently doing things all the time and dealing with a lot of emotions, right? Like you experience a lot of intense emotions. How are you managing that? Because
Yeah.
I've been there all the time.
Yeah.
Like people yell at you, and now you're like feeling really bad about yourself.
I think something that helps me, and this is very, I feel like very deep, is like knowing that I'll always have myself. Like I always
Mm.
have me, like yes, things hurt and like yes, things like I do take things personal, but I know what I'm set out to do. Like I know my motivations, I know why I'm here. And if there's something or someone that comes in the way of that, I'm stronger than that. Like me and myself, like I can face it, like I can kind of do it. But emotions and stress are something unexpected that can come in waves. I think I do get overwhelmed a lot and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I have all these things," and, like but then I sit down and I write a list, and I'm like, "What do I have to get done?" And it's like, "Wait, I already got that done." Or being president too is nice where I'll write something down and I'll write, like, Mally, okay, my wrist can do that, or Elizabeth, SWV delegate could do that, like,
Yeah.
so it's, like, different things that I'm like, "Okay, let me delegate all these tasks and, like, figure it out." But I definitely say you also need to take time for yourself. Like, you need to do other things. You can't just center your life around this, like, invisible job almost. Like, I don't get paid for this. Like,
Mm-mm.
it's all just, like, growing and stuff that I'm doing for myself, like, the greater good of, like, what I wanna do with
Yeah.
things. So I think just, like, taking a step back and realizing that it's not as big of a deal as you think it is. Like, yes,
Mm.
of course it is, but it's like, calm down. It's a bid-day theme. It's
Yeah.
not that big of a
It'll be
deal. Like,
okay.
it'll be okay, I promise you. The RC groups that got messed up will totally be okay. Like, we're gonna figure it out. So, I think that I think another thing that I've struggled with from being president is I live in the house alone. Right now I have a single, and so all my friends live away from me.
Mm.
And I don't get to come home and, like, talk with someone about how I feel. Like, I'm kinda just, like, with my thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's been a bigger struggle as a leader that I didn't expect to happen. Like, freshman year, I had my roommate. I had sophomore year, I had my roommate in the house. Junior year, it's, like, just been me. So I kinda just, like, sit with my thoughts, and I'm like,
Right.
I have so much going on, and then, like, my room's messy. Like, I don't have a standard kind of to, like, look up to almost because it's like when you have a roommate, you have someone to keep you
Yeah.
accountable.
You
Like,
can't have your shit everywhere.
no. But living alone, it's like you can't feel bad when you don't get invited. Like, if they don't invite you over to your house, like, you gotta just go. Like, you
Mm-hmm.
gotta put the initiative to be like, "Okay, I'm gonna go. I had a stressful week. I wanna, like, decompose with friends who are outside of Greek life or who aren't in my position of, like, knowing what I'm going on like, is going on in my head," and, like, just putting myself into a position where it's like, "Let's just take a break, step back, and, like, not" and also taking yourself out of the situation helps too.
Yeah.
It's like, get out of that sorority house. Get out of that FSL office, go somewhere else,
Mm-hmm.
and focus your mind on like, go to the library and do schoolwork, like, that helps me, like, reading about like like you said, I'm a WGS I guess, minor, and so, like, reading about, like, real shit, I'm like, "Okay, I'm fine." Like, women didn't
This shit
struggle
is
with the
way more
same things
intense.
that I am right now.
Yeah.
That's what I think about, and I'm like, "You're fine," and I think I just, like, think about the long run more. Like, I'm like, "Okay, this has happened before where I was super stressed out about a grade or something or, like, how something was gonna turn out, and it turned out fine." And everything's kinda gonna happen and unfold as the way you do, like, you don't have too much control over it. And in some ways you do, but in some ways you can't put all of that pressure on you.
Yeah. I think the thing I always try and focus on is like I think everyone has that realization after the fact.
Right.
I think we all always get back to the fact like it's gonna be okay,
Yeah.
right? There's not doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But like in the moment,
It matters
it
so
matters so
much.
much.
Yeah.
And you mentioned one of your strategy. You mentioned a couple strategies in there.
Right.
One was okay, if I'm overwhelmed with just straight up things to do, write it all down,
Write it all down.
and figure out. It just helps to get in front of you.
Yeah.
I
How to
completely
do
agree.
it, where to do it, when to do it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I could not agree more.
I
To-
love a list.
I love it. That's literally like a whole dedicated chapter of my book is to that.
Yeah, I
Is like
love it.
organize and prioritize.
Organization. Yeah,
Organize when you it's
yeah.
the
Prioritize.
idea of not knowing what has to get done is scarier.
I like am getting anxious thinking about that.
What am I not
Like,
doing?
I need to always have my calendar like, okay, what's next?
Yeah.
That's another thing I do have to say. I forgot what question led me to this, but just being overwhelmed with a lot of things. When I don't have anything to do, I become lazy or
Mm,
I become like,
yeah.
you can only straighten up your room so many times. Like, I don't know. I just become like, like I like having a lot of things. I think I like the stress sometimes because
Yeah.
it's like, ooh, it's like an adrenaline
Gives you
rush. It's like,
something to
what am I gonna
do.
do? Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's the paradox of you'll travel 3 miles quicker than you'll travel 1 mile.
yeah.
Because if you're going 1 mile, you're probably gonna walk.
Yeah.
It'll take you
If
50
you're going
minutes to
through.
go 3 miles, you're gonna drive.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, one of my favorite quotes is if you want something done, ask a busy person. Right? Which is so true.
I love it because
Um,
you'll figure out a way to squeeze it in. You'll get it done. Like
you're
I
just
love it.
going. You're
Yeah.
just getting
You
things
never
done.
stop.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
For better and worse.
Yeah.
But in the moment, write things down. I also really liked your point of like just go.
Just go somewhere else.
That's a big one for me.
Yeah. You need to get up.
That's a big one for me of like I think sometimes I'm definitely a deep thinker. And sometimes I'll get really into something and I'm like just like overwhelmed
Yeah.
about
Because you're thinking of every
I'm
single.
I've spiraled,
Okay. Yeah.
right? And then
Totally normal too.
I have to go for a walk.
Yeah.
I have to go to the gym. I got to call my grandma.
Mhm.
I got to do something. That's just unrelated and
Right.
easy.
Sometimes I'll like write my thoughts down. I'm like, I have so many thoughts. I just need to write them all down.
Yeah,
And
journaling.
I'll write them down. And then I look at them and I'm like, you wrote 2 sentences.
Yeah.
You didn't have that much going on up there. Like sometimes you just need to be like, okay, girl, you're fine. Like just take a step. It's okay.
Yeah.
But
I think it relates to in like waking up in the
yeah.
sense of like waking up's a different type of hard, but it's more like I just don't want to get up. It
Right.
sucks. But like right now, I'm happy I got up. I'm
Me too.
lively, I'm good,
Yeah.
I'm good.
Yeah.
5 minutes after I get up, I'm great.
Yeah.
I hate waking up.
Yeah.
And yeah,
I'm a big
it's
sleeper. So I agree.
same. Yeah. I always try like I keep telling myself in the moment, I'm still working on how much this works or not, but I'm always like use the Tom Hanks quote of like
Mm.
this too I don't even know if it's his
Yeah.
quote. I just heard
This
him
too
say it.
shall pass.
This too shall pass. I keep trying to tell myself that because like it's
Yeah.
true, but you just have to
It's
like
hard.
you have to find your own way
Yeah.
of getting through those little intense pockets of emotion.
Right.
Okay, well, similar because I kind of talked about spiraling.
Yeah.
A really important part that I think men particularly are not good at
Mm.
is reflecting on like emotions
Yeah.
and particularly negative. I think positive and negative actually. I think
Yeah.
people don't think about the positive things as much as they should and definitely
Yeah.
negative emotions. And something I think about a lot because I'm a very, very optimistic guy. And so when negative things happen, I don't like to reminisce on them
Mhm.
because then to me it feels like, oh, I'm just kind of doing this to like, feel better about myself.
Right.
Right? Because sometimes people think about negative things too much, right? Like there's the balance there.
Mhm.
And I'm curious what you think, what if you have any advice for someone like me
Yeah.
on like finding like how do I know when I should probably keep thinking about this thing and when I've hit
Shouldn't.
the wall. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think I tend to end up short and not think about it as much as I should.
Right. Is there like an example you could give me?
I think it could be anything. I think like this has not happened. My grandma's
Okay.
doing great.
Okay.
Like if my grandma died,
Right.
right? I think, my first I think I'd be sad about it. I think I'd think about it and reflect about it. But I think, next week, if I had that thought, I think my first instinct wouldn't be like, oh yeah, let me sit in this sadness for a second and really be present with it because it's a part of life. I think my
Right.
first thought is going to be like, no, like let's not get stuck in that. Let's not like be a depressive person.
Right. Okay. That's definitely hard because I feel like I've kind of had a similar experience. But it's like I don't know, it's definitely tricky because I think it's hard for men specifically because like I feel like you guys just go from like kind of putting it in a box and like shoving it away whereas women like I'm going to feel all those feels.
Just
I hate those lids.
just spill. I need like the sippy lid.
Yeah, we could talk about hydroplaning
I just spill water
all
all
day.
over myself.
Yeah, that's okay. Unless you're
I didn't hit the mic though. I didn't
Oh
hit
yeah,
the mic.
don't touch
Not
the
yet.
I'm so scared of the they'll never let us back in here. But I think women, like, feel it more. Also, I don't know, men are harder to, like, gauge, or it's like, "Tell me how you're feeling." Like, "It's okay, I just wanna hear what you're like."
I'm good.
"Yeah, I'll
I'm
be"
fine.
yeah, and that's what yeah, I hate that. I'm like, "Why do you guys come on, just tell me." Or, like,
Yeah.
crying's a big one too. Like, I've
Yeah.
always mm, like, when you just get it out, it feels so much better than keeping it in. Like, you just have to cry. You know what I mean? Do you think that or
I know, I
no?
agree. I can't, like, do it on demand, though.
Well, that's what I'm saying, but, like, when you're sad about something like that, obviously, it's a setting thing. Like, maybe I'll be doing great in a meeting, and I'm like, "Okay, yeah." Like, I'm gonna use my dog, for example. My dog passed away sophomore year of college,
Mhm.
and it was, like during summer, thankfully, I was home. But it's like, "Okay, let me" oh, there were well, it did I was gonna be like, "Well, I went to work, and then it was fine." No, I got to work, and I was bawling, and I had to get sent home. I think it depends, but you have to just like, in every situation, you come first. Like, yes, whatever you're working on is big and, like but you do have to take time for your mental health, like, mental
Men.
mental mental health. I don't know, I feel like I could
Yeah.
go a lot
But
of
I would
different
never, like
directions in this
I would
way.
never cry at work.
Well, no. Yeah,
I
well,
wouldn't even
I
cry,
did.
like,
I
I've had that thought too where it's like I remember a couple weeks ago, I was reading a book, like a pretty, like, deep book,
yeah.
like, in the living room,
Mhm.
and I was getting a little teary-eyed. I was like, "I need to go to my room."
Right.
I was like, "Yeah,"
Yeah.
like, that was my first instinct was like,
Yeah.
"Let me, like, read this in my room in case, like, I cry."
Yeah.
Which, like, but, like,
Is it
isn't that
like a
interesting?
confrontation thing?
I just think it's not normal.
Yeah.
Like, we were talking about for the podcast about, like, these conversations are not normal,
Yeah.
right? We wouldn't have this conversation over lunch in the EMU,
Right.
just casually.
I think it's funny that you say that though, because when you do get close to the people like that you do feel vulnerable enough to talk about these things, you will, I think. Because me and my freshman year roommate, wait, my freshman year roommate and I, would always have these like deep conversations like right before we left for break. And like we would just be sitting and unthink, just like eating
Yeah.
and like just having these deep conversations. And I think like I don't
No,
know. I
you're
feel
right.
like
I do, and you're not wrong.
yeah,
And I do have those kind of conversations with like the guys that I'm closest with.
yeah.
But
But not us,
but
I
crying,
guess.
yeah, but crying just like different.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like it's just I think it's one of those things too where it's like I've I've never seen it.
Mm.
I've never had it. I don't think I've
Mm, that's crazy. I
I'm sure it's happened, but I cannot at this moment think of a time where, like I saw another guy crying
wow.
to me or to like our my
I
friends
mean,
or
I yeah, I have to agree. So, not I mean, I'm okay and everything. This is just for the example, or kind of. But my dad's father just passed away in the last week,
sorry about that.
and no, that's okay. It was time, and he's resting well, so that's good. He was a great man, but so my father's father just passed away, and like I don't have any brothers, like, I've been surrounded by a lot of women in my life,
Mhm.
and so that was my first interaction between, like, my dad and his father, like, seeing them together, they're very similar, but he lived in Virginia, just recently moved to California where I live now once he started, like he had dementia, so once that was developing,
Mm,
he had to come live with us.
yeah.
Anyway, but so I would call him and I'm like I called him this weekend and I was like, "How are you? Like, are you okay? Like, I love you. Like, it's okay." And he was like, "I'm perfect." I was like, "I know you're not.
Yeah.
You're not perfect. You're not okay. That's your father."
Right.
And I was like, "At what point?" And I feel like as I've gotten older, I've become very vulnerable with my parents. Like I'm very open with them, my sister as well. I'm very open about how I'm feeling about something. And so it's just hard because I'm like, you can feel that around me if you want. Like that's okay. Like
Mhm.
it's okay to feel like that. So I it's interesting that you said that because I just recently saw that in a male figure in my life.
Yeah.
Like, he didn't want and obviously, he's my dad, he doesn't wanna seem vulnerable or sad in front of me, but, like, I know it hurt him so bad, and when he was like, "Oh, I'm perfect," I was like,
Yeah.
"Don't say that, like, you're not, it's okay."
Yeah.
But
I think one argument too for the men out there is like, including myself, is like, well, the highs are gonna feel life is more if you kind of feel it more,
for sure,
right? Like the
because like,
highs are
when
gonna
the
feel better, the lows are gonna feel worse, but like you're gonna
yeah,
experience more.
that's crazy that you said you've never seen it. I, like, focus a lot
Mm,
on, um with, like, WGS, I really love, like, picking out, like, social norms and, like,
mm,
gender norms. So you hit a little spot in me that's like got me
Yeah.
thinking.
I've talked
Cause
about very vulnerable things
yeah.
with close friends, but it's never turned to tears
Hmm.
for whatever reason.
Yeah. Like that's very interesting. Cause like for us girls, it's like we have to stop the tears. Like
Right.
we'll be going out and like we're having a great night and we're like, oh shoot, we only have 1 year left of this.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
And just like that, you start bawling.
tears, yeah.
Yeah.
I could probably cry right now if I wanted to.
Right.
Like just thinking about not living as close with my friends. But it's like
Yeah.
it's so interesting because I think it's like you guys don't, and correct me if I'm wrong, like do you don't want someone to feel bad for you or like look at you in like a smaller way?
Yeah. I would say,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. Perception is like being like, no, like not wanting
Yeah.
the sensitive attention. Like, I'm
Yeah.
good. Like, I can take care of myself and I can take care of others.
Right. I definitely, and I think that's a leader or like a value that a lot of leaders possess. So this is another thing that I'm actually reminded of. I got really overwhelmed and stressed out during recruitment and I
Mm-hmm.
started to cry.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to go up to my room because I live in this damn house.
Mm-hmm.
I had to go up to my room and I was like crying and I couldn't stop. And the doors were about to open. There was like we had like it was like the 3 minute knock. That's what we do in preparation. I was crying
Right.
and I just couldn't stop. And everyone's like, "What's wrong? Like you don't have to go out. I'll send some." Maybe if your recruitment was like, "I'll send our director of recruitment to go out for you and open the doors and welcome the PNMs in." And I was like, "That's my job." But at the same time, I was like so sad. I was like, "I need to present myself in a way that doesn't make me look vulnerable or like
Mm-hmm.
this is affecting me a lot." But it did. And I think I blamed it on something else. And I think I had said something else, but in reality, I didn't want to tell them that this was stressing me out, that
Yeah.
this was like a lot like going on. And I don't know exactly what was affecting me during recruitment. It's a very
I think,
interesting process, especially with sororities, but I didn't want to tell them. That's one where I can say like an example for myself where I could relate to that because I didn't want to tell them that I was sad because this was overwhelming me. I wanted them to view me as someone who had their shit together, knew what she was doing, and was confident to go out and welcome them into our chapter house.
I think maybe we're just like, men are just too stern,
Yeah, I think
right?
so.
I think
Well,
it's
you guys are stubborn too, like in a way of like
exactly,
stubborn
it's
out.
too
Yeah.
like, hey, like, I'm gonna make my way out of life. I think there's a big mentality, especially with like really like macho men.
Yeah.
Like, you're like, I'm gonna do me. Like, I'm gonna make this
Yeah. Like
happen.
nothing really affects me. Like I get
You're like,
hit and
this
it's
is
like
my
I'm fine.
destiny.
Yeah.
Like, I can handle it. I'm gonna bull rush my way through life.
Yeah.
I've got this. And we're not really good at kind of like bouncing back and forth and like, this hit me, this hit me, this hit me.
Yeah.
And like just and accepting things as they go. And that's definitely a big thing I'm trying to work on all the time.
Yeah.
Of like, even like last night I was like, I'm a social guy. I wasn't
Yeah.
feeling super social. Like, I was out and about, but it's like, I'm not really feeling great. Like, I'm not really feeling super social. I'm like, that's
Yeah.
fine.
Totally fine.
Like, I don't need to like bull rush my way into like being the life of the party there.
I think the thing is too is you guys automatically switch to like, "No, I'm fine. Like, I can do it." Or like, I was gonna say like, "No, it's fine. I can't." Like,
I can make it.
I
It's
can
like,
yeah,
I'm gonna
I'm
make it
gonna do it.
work.
Like, it's fine. Don't worry about me. Like, I have to just do it. Like, I have to just make it work. I have to be social tonight. Like, I have to do it.
Yeah, super malleable. We're not flexible at
Yeah.
all. Like, there's no give and take of, today I'm going to be little different. Today I'm going to be a little sadder. Today I'm going
Yeah.
to be a little happier. Today I'm going to be a little more ambitious.
I think the thing is too is like with the women, it's like I totally understand it where it's like if someone comes into the office and they're super sad, I'm like, "What's wrong? What can I do? Whatever." And they're just like, "I'm feeling a little off today." Fine. I could get it.
Yeah.
Like it just switched for me. But men, I feel like go through this thing where they have like they're like, "Okay, like today I'm feeling off a little bit, but I'm gonna pretend that I'm not and everything's fine."
Yeah.
And then you don't really get to know that person deeper because they're not telling you when they feel different ways.
Yeah.
So it's like if I think that you're sad, like your like sad persona is like really you're like I'm fine and I'm happy. I'll never get to know when you're
You,
really sad. So how are we supposed to like, work with that as well?
yeah. I'm sure part of it too is like, men are worse at identifying it,
Yeah.
right? I feel like part of it too is we're worse at identifying when we're feeling
I
off.
can't imagine. Like that's hard. That sucks.
Yeah. It's interesting.
That's interesting.
Hmm.
And it's not like we know we got it going on, but when I feel a certain way, I'm like, "Okay, let me identify this, like, what's going on? Like, do I just need to call my mom or my sister or stuff. Like, I don't know. That's very interesting. And like then it's hard because like you could be feeling that way, but if you can't identify, you don't know what to do about it.
Yeah.
And like you guys, like you were saying, like you know what you're doing, like you can kind of predict, like you like being on top of your stuff, but then it's like, and you like to have a solution when you're coaching people, you have that solution, you just want to give it to them.
Right.
But if you don't even know how you're feeling, how can you solve that issue? You know, that's
Yeah.
hard.
I mean, it's like a lot of it is just letting go,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Which we don't want to do
Mhm.
as a
I just
leader
can't
or as a
imagine that being like so pent like up in myself, just like letting, because that's what I was saying, like letting that cry out, just like letting it out, like
oh, I'm sure
feeling all those feels.
I,
Yeah, it's amazing.
I'm sure that what leads to more violence in men, like I'm
Yeah.
sure that leads to more like men going to prison. Like
Right.
I'm sure that what leads to a lot of issues and
Yeah.
like suicides and violence within
Yeah.
young men of like that just is there.
Yeah.
And like what do you do with that? Right? Which sucks, but I think it's going to only get better
Yeah.
with like social media and technology and all this.
Right. I have a question
Well,
about
hopefully,
your
I have no idea.
chapter.
Don't hold
Yeah,
on. Don't.
hopefully.
That was a bold statement. I don't ignore that quote. There's a way more to dig into that on the service. Go ahead.
Um, does Beta specifically, do you guys focus a lot on men's mental health?
We have a mental health chair. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I don't know. I bet you probably 4 people go to the meeting
Yeah.
every week, but we have mandatory ones like once a term, maybe twice a term.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably hard to people like sit down, they're like, yeah, I'm fine. Everything's good. Or like, do they open up and are they vulnerable?
In the big group ones, not really.
Not really.
Some of them do. I think there's a great core of guys that go to like the weekly meetings that
Mhm.
are like super vulnerable
Yeah.
and super open and super supportive.
Yeah.
I think the default is definitely not that.
Yeah. And I mean, you don't have to go in immediately and tell your whole life story and like drop all of everything that you're feeling on people, but like gaining the trust and vulnerability of the people around you, like it definitely just been like, oh, wait, I've also been struggling with that. Like just to know you're not alone.
Yeah.
I think it's hard
And it's just
because
go ahead.
especially like if you're surrounding yourself with all these men that are putting off the same persona of like I'm fine when I'm not, you're gonna think when you're not fine, you're gonna think,
Right.
oh, everyone else is fine.
Like
I
social
should be
media.
fine. Yeah.
Everyone else's life is great. Why is mine
Why is
not
mine
great?
not great? Yeah. But
That's
it's
a great
like
point.
theirs is almost equally or more shitty
Yeah.
than yours.
Just getting better. I think a great first step people can take is just being like, oh, how are you? It's like, oh, I'm, happy that it's the weekend. I'm a little overwhelmed because I have 2 midterms next week,
Mhm.
and I'm a little sad because I don't have a girlfriend yet.
Yeah.
I don't know. It could be anything, right? But
Right.
like, not going, I'm fine. Like
Yeah.
it could
Or I'm
be,
good.
I'm good. Like,
Yeah.
what are 3 emotions you're feeling right now? And just
Yeah.
give me like a little more.
Yeah.
That's something I'm trying to do.
Yeah. That's good. It's just like crazy to even like think about too. Cause like,
Right?
yeah, I'm thinking of like my guy friends and stuff, and like how to be there for those people too.
Mm.
Or like even other leaders too. Like I I mean obviously my counterpart is Ethan, but it's like also how can I be there to support them, Or even like fraternity presidents too.
Yeah.
Just as a greater. I don't know. That's a deep question. That could be a whole nother podcast topic.
Have to be next time.
Yeah.
Mia, thank you for coming on. This has been a great
Yeah.
conversation.
Thank you.
We have a closing tradition on this podcast, which comes directly from my favorite show, The Diary of a CEO, in which the last guest leaves a question for the next guest, not knowing whom they're leaving in a question
Ooh,
for.
I love that.
And the question that has been left for you is, do you think AI technology, specifically ChatGPT, is good or bad for mankind?
I'm gonna lean towards bad.
Why?
Because it's a crutch. Like so many people are using it and not exploring their own mind and their own thoughts. Like I think again, like that when you're not learning too much, you're just learning how to copy and paste and edit.
And
Yeah, you
prompt.
can edit and prompt. Yeah. I mean, 2, you're at risk of being caught. Like that scares me. I hate getting in trouble. In some aspects, I love to have fun, but like I would hate for a professor to call me out on using ChatGPT. Like that scares me almost worse than like getting an F. It's just, and sometimes it can be unreliable. I think there's a lot of things like obviously we've all used it. Like we use it for help, and I guess it can guide us. But I'm just fearful of like the things we're missing out on by doing research and like finding it ourselves.
Well
I
said.
think it's I don't know, it's just scary
It's scary.
because as much as we use it and it gains popularity, and we're just gonna keep falling down that rabbit hole.
I
And
keep getting those memes of like AI took over, kill that guy. Wait, save him. He said thank you after you prompted him. It's like,
oh, that's
thank you,
crazy.
ChatGPT. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it's also technology is just really scary because it knows so much more about you than you think it does.
Oh my gosh, I'll do it all the
Um,
time. I'll like,
it's terrifying.
I'll type in people's names.
It's so
I'll
scary.
be like, all right, tell me who Mia Ragland is,
Yeah,
and it gets it right, and you're like, fuck.
yeah. Like, oh shit.
Yeah, I did to my dad. I did dad. I went. I
Scary.
was like, Dad, come here. I go, who's Tom Batchelder? And I brought up this whole thing, and he goes,
Yeah.
what in the world?
Well, I think another thing that's scary too is you don't know what's real and what's fake. That terrifies me.
Right.
That terrifies me.
So easy. It's gonna be so easy to
So easy to scam. So
like
easy.
take this video and like put something over my
Oh
mouth
yeah.
and then make it say something I didn't say.
Right. That's terrifying.
Terrifying.
Yeah.
Mia, thank you for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right.
Appreciate you.